Welcome back to another episode of The Gentleman Show, joined as always with the gentleman,
Curtis Nash.
Josh Gruber.
And I'm Darren Warth, and as you can tell, I have a little bit of a hoarse voice. Darren's been a little under the weather lately.
Poor
So I will be talking a little bit less as we go through today's show.
Is that a Pokemon? Dare.
You caught a wild Dare. CP of only 150. Lame.
I have no idea what that means.
Just talking Greek to you. So kind of we're going to recap same thing as last week's show and kick it off with one of the big conventions that went down, Gamescon.
Can we call it that anymore?
Yeah, I guess that's
It's a
also
video
true.
game conference in Germany that's usually kind of a big deal, but
Right.
Sony didn't show up, Microsoft didn't show up, Nintendo didn't show up. So I'm like, why would you spend all this money when nobody's going to come?
Agreed. It's more or less for like studios, if you will, to showcase.
But even
some
then,
games, but
the best thing I saw was Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
and even then, like I don't know.
I'm still not. It looks good, but Resident Evil 7, because it was about 4 minutes of gameplay
Yeah.
they released, and it looked creepy, but I'm not 100% sold on the VR first person aspect of it. I'm a big fan of third person over the shoulder.
Maybe you can switch in between.
That would be cool. If they can do that, then I'm in.
I like it because it's not all flashy and explosive. This is more like Resident Evil 1, 2,
first
and
one,
More
yeah.
of a
4.
horror.
Yeah.
'cause
Like
3
Five
was
Nights
kinda-
at Freddy's kind of feel to it.
Yeah. Give me the scares back in Resident Evil where I'm scared to look around a corner.
Put me back in that, the haunted mansion or the mansion. You don't know why you're there, and then don't. Resident Evil 5 or 6, where you just had like the mass amounts of people running after you, like they were
6,
infected,
yeah.
but they weren't zombies. I don't know. I didn't like that. That's not Resident Evil to me. You need to have, like you said, that scare factor. Resident Evil 2, growing up, playing that game, pop a zombie, busting through walls, busting around corners. That guy
I always
scared
remember
the crap out of me.
walking down the hallway when I had it on GameCube. I can't remember which one it was, but you
Two.
saw windows and you're just like, I know a dog's coming through
Exactly.
that freaking-
I
There's a
remember.
crow.
I thoroughly remember dropping that controller in protest when that first dog crashed through the stupid glass.
But it like the horror elements, like you said, they were there. It was like that little girl voice at the end, right when
Yeah.
he turns around and there's the mouth coming at him with the zombie. Like, it looks horrifying with Oculus Rift or like anything like that. It would be pee your pants worthy.
I hope so.
I would love
I
to
don't
pee my
judge a good
pants
horror
game.
game unless I defecate and or urinate in my pants.
Pick up Resident Evil 7, box. It depends. I'm ready for the weekend, kids.
I give this 3 poops.
3 poops out of 5 peas. It was a really good game. And then,
Speaking of poop, Final Fantasy 15.
this is
got
where I
showed off.
disagree with you on
Yes,
that.
Thank
good
you,
sir.
Darren. Thank you.
Normally, I'm not. I played Final Fantasy 11. Pretty much the only reason, 13. The only reason I played it was because I had a crush on Lightning. But I hadn't really played since 7 because it just kind of. I'm not a big turn-based mechanics, and that's where this game kind of brought me back. But I will say, it looks gorgeous. It looks like such a good game. I don't like the hey, we're gonna play this game for 2 hours so you can watch
Yeah.
it, and now there's no mystery anymore. I want to go into the game and have it
Oh,
all
Darren,
fresh.
Darren.
Well,
Let me
if
tell
you want
you.
to be a big nerd and collect everything, you're going to be playing it for 500 hours
But that's
anyway.
just it. So, like, yeah, obviously, Kurt, you're not the type of person that really gets in depth. Like, we've always argued and joked around that you're a very linear player. You go for the story, and that's it. You don't do the side quests.
Side quests are stupid.
What was it
Let
when
me
the
grind my guys to 100 and just beat
Say
the
that
crap
again.
out of everything.
Let me grind my
Which way you
guys.
grinding them from, John? But it's kind of, I remember it was one day, I think it was in the new Tomb Raider, or no, it was that Heaven, the game where the woman's fighting the robot animals on PlayStation.
yeah.
That's
And you were
yeah.
like, that looks so good. And then the second they were like, oh, you can craft your own weapons. You're
was
like,
like,
I'm
I'm
out.
I'm out.
I don't want to pick a freaking trigger. Who cares?
You do definitely like the easier games. I'll give you
Even
that.
when I used to play Call of Duty, like everybody's like painting their gun. I'm like, they gave me a gun. It's fine.
Yeah.
It shoots the
It's
same.
just
Who
people.
cares?
So when like Mass Effects come out and they give you character customization, you just go with the
I go
run-of-the-mill
with
shepherd?
generic Shepherd. That's all I do. I'm
You're
like,
like,
I could spend 5 hours making this guy look like me, but then I remembered I'm just looking at the back of his head the whole time.
I spend all the time, but my guys always wind up the same. There's an eye scar. He's got some type of sweet facial tattoo.
But
And
with
he's
the-
unusually muscular.
with the Final Fantasy, like it has been delayed, so it was supposed to come
It's
out
only 2 months.
Recently.
2 months, and that's fine. Like, I mean, I haven't heard anybody that is a Final Fantasy fan moan about it because they know.
Because it's been coming up for 10 years.
But that, well, no, it's
sure. You can't even argue it.
If they're good at development,
if you're gonna plan something for 10 years, polish it so that it's just shiny golden.
And
like, don't release it with rough edges. Like this game, you're not even a Final Fantasy fan, and you've known that. So, like, Square Enix has been working on this, so it's no secret they have a huge.
I just like to read.
Yeah.
If they're gonna delay a game, like you said, do it to make sure that everything's fine. Don't pull a division and not delay the game and then release it and people keep falling through the floor.
Right.
And I stopped playing it because I couldn't take it anymore.
Glitchy and stuff like that.
So if they gotta push it till November and it's gonna come out and it's gonna run flawlessly, then I'm gonna be completely on.
Like you said, man, it looks dynamite.
Oh, but I will say there was voice acting from the little bit I watched where like it zooms in and their car's broken down. The voice acting is very like, oh, our truck has been stuck here for days. Like it's very.
But I mean, that's the kind of. If you look at the voice actors that you get with the Japanese game, you know, they're very, very deep. You know, it doesn't really. I mean, it matches the characters.
But when they're
that's what
bringing
you're used
in
to when
like
you're
Troy
watching anime.
Baker and people to do some of the voices for this game,
Right.
like I know,
you
like
can tell
when he's Joel,
that's your specialty.
yeah,
right?
like
For
when
sure.
he's working on stuff like The Last of Us and like he's acting for real. I want to hear that in the game.
Real good game.
Where you could craft. How did you even make it through?
How did you make it
That's
through?
easy crafting.
I need to put nails
together.
through this 2x4. Get this shit out of here. I want to play this game.
I'm just gonna punch my way through Last of Us.
I wish that would have been the best way to play that. Just boss your way through. Speaking of video games and everything coming up with them, there's some changes coming to the PlayStation Network, which I'm not very happy about.
I don't think any of
many
us
people
are.
are.
Yeah.
I got the email yesterday or today officially saying that it was taking place, but you guys can take. I'm still very emotional over this.
PlayStation Plus jacking up their price. Not only jacking up, $20.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's funny
20
because
bucks?
like, I mean, they're doing it to I don't know. They were saying they're comparing it to Xbox Live, so
That's bull.
they're equal price with Xbox Live. I don't care. I don't own an Xbox. I don't care what Xbox Live costs.
PlayStation.
Keep it with what I have. The only reason why I have PlayStation Plus is to play Star Wars Battlefront or the games that are required to play online. So I'm spending damn near $70 now just for a year
So you can
to
play your Final Fantasy.
No, you don't even need Final. You don't need
that's right,
PlayStation
on the internet
Plus.
server. I forgot about that.
So
Yeah.
I have
In the week
PlayStation
I
Plus
played.
for one game. And they're like, oh, you know, Josh, you can get some free. You get 2 free games every month. Well, they're crap. Like they're indie
It's
games,
once
and some of them
once
are
in a
good.
blue moon, they'll give you like a really good one.
But you know, there's no perk to having the PlayStation Plus. It needs to be.
I
a
like my
better
Battlefront.
incentive
That's
deal.
what makes me mad. I play one game online
Star
in
Wars.
Star Wars Battlefront, and the new one is coming out next year, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna get it now
it's even-
because
You have to.
When I think
have
about it,
to.
I'm only playing my Battlefields and stuff like that online, but like, you know, the Drake's Fortune collection, all
I
that
skip
stuff,
when
those
they-
are all offline games.
when it's like, do you want to spend the 5 hours waiting to play online? I'm like, no, I'll play now.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Grand
and you
Theft
can
Auto,
also-
everything. I'm like, let's play it now.
The great thing that PSN had over Xbox Live was if you wanted to watch Netflix on your Xbox, you needed Xbox Live to connect to the internet. Wouldn't let you do it. With PlayStation Network, if you want to use any of your apps like Twitch, YouTube, any of that stuff, you don't need to pay for online, you just need internet.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to the gaming, so that's where they kind of get you. It was a double-edged sword, but I mean, going from $49.99 to $69.99 for a year, I only go 3-month intervals, but even still, $30 a month now. Instead of 20, I'm in radio, man. I don't make that kind of money.
I agree.
I got kids to feed.
I got mouths to feed, man.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. From what I've read, you know, there's not a lot of people happy with it. Sony's trying to.
But it's going to be,
You know?
there's going to be a petition, online petition, you bet your ass
probably.
that's going to pop up there. And then 3 or 4 months are going to go by and nobody's going to talk about it anymore.
Exactly.
That's
But
'cause everybody-
that's because they know. They
You're gonna
have
lay
us
back
by
and
the
you're gonna
short and
accept it?
curlies.
Yeah.
Just like when all of a sudden games went up by $20 in the span
Yeah.
of a year and a half or 2 years.
But that was for next gen.
Well, it wasn't even
It's
that.
not even, yeah.
Games have been $60 since I was like 10 years old, basically.
PS2,
Since Sega
PS3,
Genesis,
PS4,
Nintendo
yeah.
64, PlayStation, always $60. I know they're more of a big deal, but you can't tell me it was just because the technology wasn't there. It's the same amount of man hours.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they're charging me $20 more in that fast time. Now they're doing the same thing.
Well, and you can't tell me when you're spending, okay, I spend $60 on a game. Now, 8 billion people or whatever go out and spend that much money. Like, look at Grand Theft Auto made so much money because so many people bought it. And that was just for $60 a game.
Yeah.
They're making their money off of this. The $80 a month they're going to make off their PlayStation networks. Like, it's not like they're getting food stamps. The people at Sony are doing hard up. Like, it is a business, and I get it, but it is a little cheap.
They can say, or trying to just be the same as Xbox, like, you're selling PlayStation 4s 3-to-1.
Yeah.
To Xbox One. You don't need. This is why people are switching over to PlayStation. Like, oh, Xbox Live is this much. This is cheaper.
Right.
And it runs the same games pretty much.
Yep.
Eventually, all the same games.
Aside from exclusives, but I mean, now that they're going to do like the online gaming pretty soon is going to be completely inclusive.
Yeah.
Where it
What's
doesn't
the
matter
point?
what you
It doesn't
have.
matter what you're playing.
It's a cash grab.
All the servers, it's all inter.
That'll be their reasoning. Well, how could you play on a server with an Xbox kid if he's only paying 60 and you're paying 40?
Shouldn't have bought an Xbox.
Yeah,
Yeah, should have bought an Xbox, you stupid chump.
Just wait for gentleman fights. You don't know what that means yet, but it'll make sense
We
in a
just
couple
agreed.
months. Don't ruin the illusion. Speaking of the internet, segues. There was also, for our trailer section, there wasn't too many. I was gonna talk about Max Steel, but that looks really bad.
It does look
I watched
stupid.
it again.
Yeah.
It looks like a B movie. But speaking of B movies, though, the new Batman, throwing it back to 1966.
This
is
is quite a spin.
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
If you
Quite a
ask me,
spin.
I wouldn't have gone with it until I listened. I watched and listened to it. That it's actually Burt Ward and Adam West doing their voices again, and it's
only
just
two
like
surviving
the old cartoon.
members.
I know, but Burt Ward sounds exactly the same.
Adam West sounds a little out of breath, a little
He's
more
a little
raspy,
shaky,
but
a
Burt
little
Ward
old.
does sound bang on.
So it's the 1960 Batman movie, but it's animated. And
For
it's
obvious
original,
reasons.
and it's the original voice. He's not gonna be running.
Adam West is like,
Batman's passed
We're
for
gonna get
saggy
you.
50 years ago. I don't want to see
But
him now in tights.
this kind of goes back to us having that conversation about how DC really kills it in the animated
Animated,
movies.
totally.
So this is either going to be like a super big hit or a really big mistake.
I think it's
But-
just going to be fun.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
well, you look
some
at
of
it like the
jokes?
Joker's got him on like a dinner tray and they're going into a giant
It's
microwave
like
oven.
You'll
Like it's-
rule the
jokes,
day.
yeah.
The only rule's in that gravy.
and like the Joker's car picks up on stilts and flips around and drops. Like it's it's
Sharks with
having
lasers.
fun again.
Yeah.
You better have shark spray. The
When-
shark repellent.
Yeah.
When at the end, when he said, "Wait, Robin," it's like, "We don't jaywalk to the back crossing or whatever." Like, this is gonna be absolutely perfect. I can't wait for this movie to come out.
And I'm happy that they went because like they were all in on the joke in the 1966
Yeah.
version, but you could tell that they're totally amping up the stupidity for this movie and that everyone's
little bit
on
more.
board.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's just the throwback. That's the what
And Adam West has
everybody
been
wants.
dumb in his animated stuff he's
Yeah.
been doing lately too, so he likes having fun.
As long as they they keep the spirit of the old show in there,
Yeah.
so I could show my kids like that, not
But that's the
not
dumb
make it
stuff,
too
right?
crude,
That's
you know,
what Darren's just
like the
talking about.
ridiculous
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
like use the crosswalk, kids.
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
Stuff
And maybe
like
that'll
that.
open up the door that then they'll want to watch the old live action version.
Exactly.
Right? It's a win-win.
And I hope they do the animation so bad as if they're climbing a wall that it was when the
Sideways.
TV
I
show.
think
Yeah.
they have to. They have
hope
to.
so.
There's no way they could make them climb the wall and it looks like super awesome action.
I do not want to see those capes move once when they climb a wall, and I'll be happy then.
dangling straight down.
Yeah.
Some other cool movie news that came out. Not as much news as the screen. I was going to call them screen captures, but the set photos. That's
Set
what
photos.
they are. I'm hopped up on anti-cold medicine right now. But there was
Scissor.
NyQuil.
there were some really good ones with Thor Ragnarok and some big surprises like Doctor Strange's home address.
That was very cool.
Surprisingly.
I can't believe they did that. I honestly can't believe Marvel did that.
that they gave that out.
Yeah.
Right?
And you know what? As bad as Thor 2 was, this third one is really looking to shape up and like
Well,
just
when you see
crush the previous
the
one.
concept art where it's Hulk in his full battle armor grabbing that like rock soldier
Yeah.
guy, and then you see that like Stephen Strange might be in this one. You hear
Yeah.
about Loki's in it. They're traveling through dimensions. Like, well, we see Dormammu. Like, it just seems like it's gonna be really
What
cool.
better way, though, if you think about it? They're going to all these realms. Who better to do it for him?
He's
than
pretty
Doctor
good at it.
Strange?
And Doctor Strange comes out in November, and then Thor Ragnarok is next year, so the timeline is right that he'll already be introduced and you'll already know about like alternate dimensions and
Right.
realms.
Bless Marvel.
And that's the game plan which we've talked about before, where they're thinking ahead. They're like, well, Thor Ragnarok's coming. We should probably get Stephen Strange out quicker so that we can maybe work in some cool stuff there, because the internet was screaming for Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
It does kind of look like with what we have now that something happens on Asgard someone or something takes over. We know that Hulk ends up on Asgard.
Well, who
we
is
know
the
that
lady who wears the antler crown? That there was that.
Hela.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So we know something happens to Odin.
Is it Gila or Hela?
hell of a good dip.
Good tip. But so we know, like, I think for the first bit of the movie, we'll see Thor and Hulk. The middle part we'll be looking for Odin because we have seen.
Loki's in there.
Well, there was
Well, we
homeless
know
Odin.
Loki is
Well,
with
we know Tom
Thor
Hiddleston
looking
Yeah.
for
is
Odin,
in it.
right?
But we
Looking
saw
for-
homeless Odin. Do you think
Yeah.
that's actually? Do you think that's actually Odin, or is that Loki in?
Oh, I think it'll be homeless Odin.
You think it's homeless Odin?
Yeah, and then wrap it up with Thor and Loki.
Bring me your change.
I must sleep now. But yeah, no,
He's gone into the homeless sleep.
it is looking a lot better. It's starting to look really good, so I'm pretty excited.
I just hope that they tie together because obviously we haven't seen what happened to Hulk since Age of Ultron when he was on the.
He flew up.
Yeah, when he
I
was
just
taking
watched
off.
it this weekend.
Right? Getting in the mode. So
Yeah.
I hope that it kind of adventures on how that goes. Because really in like the animated series and some of the comics, like Thor and Hulk, because they could go toe to toe, they were always like riffing off each other. I remember there was an episode of Avengers Assemble where Hulk and Thor are like playing Xbox.
Yeah.
And like, it's stuff like that I want to see. And when I see like Thor in his street clothes with Loki, I'm hoping that maybe Bruce goes back to Banner mode and that they're doing
like
some investigatory
more
stuff.
the love-hate with that you saw with Falcon and
Yeah.
Winter Soldier and
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be
It's a good dynamic.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
Because like we
exciting
saw in the
things.
Avengers when Hulk just does the side punch on
Yeah.
Thor. It's like that's the kind of humor that I'm hoping this movie has, this dark turn, but in the Marvel fashion. I hope it's very lighthearted and more of like a fun, yeah, sure, it's Ragnarok, but hey, we can still smile on our face.
Sure, the world's ending, but here we go.
And then obviously, because that has to lead into Infinity War, I think, after that, because it'll be Guardians of the Galaxy 2
Black
before or after
Panther.
that?
Before that.
Okay.
The one after Thor is Black Panther, and then it's Infinity War. Part
Because
one.
Hulk obviously has to get back to the Avengers because they need their big hitter for Thanos.
He's not showing up till part 2.
But part 2 is an Infinity War part 2. It's a
But
different
it's still.
story.
I don't
think,
know.
Well, yeah, like they renamed it, but I think
We
it's
don't know
still
the name
a
of.
sequel. I think it's still the sequel
still a
to
sequel,
part 1.
but-
Yeah.
It's just not Infinity War part 2.
It'll be its
It's
own kind
called,
of
maybe it's called
standalone.
Infinity Gauntlet.
Hey. Could be the Infinity War for the Stones of the Gauntlet. They lose at the end of Infinity War. Thanos gets it, and the second movie is them trying to defeat Thanos.
Exactly.
Sorry, guys, we just spoiled the movie. No point in going 2018.
Give us our check. We just wrote this.
Marvel's just knocking on the door right now. They got the guns and snipers outside.
Who told you the plot?
Speaking of guns and snipers and people being angry, new Mary Jane was cast.
This is the biggest non-issue I've ever heard in my life.
Agreed,
Right?
completely.
Thank you. I'm really happy that
you
we have no
know.
racists on the panel.
This is okay. This is my take. Mary Jane to me has always been the secondary character.
Right.
Yeah.
Secondary characters I don't care about. If it was, this is gonna sound maybe an ET bit racist, but let me explain myself.
Teensy bit
If they
racist.
cast, say Batman or Superman or somebody like that, black, I might be like, I don't know if I like that. Just because they're
So Fantastic Four, Human Torch.
even that Human Torch isn't a big character. You
Okay.
know? He's not that big. Most of the time he's in flame mode. You
Right.
can't tell what he is. And I'd be a little upset about that. I'm like, Batman is white. This sounds
Because
so
that would be an obvious like, hey, let's appease to the crowd.
Yeah, but that being said, if originally Superman and Batman were black and they cast a white guy, I'd be like, no,
That doesn't
Superman
make
and
sense.
Batman are black.
That's how you
And
just
I-
stopped yourself from sounding
yeah,
racist.
I'm not
So-
racist, I swear to God. So when it's like Mary Jane, everybody's like, oh, she's black, blah. Who cares?
But I mean, it's so stupid. Like you said, it's Mary Jane Watson. She's white, white, red, like red.
Yeah.
The beautiful redhead that Peter Parker falls in love with, gets married, blah blah blah.
Right.
To have the person that they've cast. and-
Zendaya is her name. We have
So
Zendaya.
Zendaya, I think she's like affiliated through Disney. Like she's
Yeah, she
done
was-
some stuff through the Disney Channel.
Yeah, like the
kid
bubblegum
stuff.
pop kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I've seen pictures, and it's such a like it is kind of a hot topic because to me like she doesn't look black or Hispanic. Like she's a little bit darker, sure, but I mean. She's gonna have red hair regardless.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's gonna have red hair. You
because
throw
that's
red
the
hair
thing
on her-
people will be more pissed off about. Who cares about race? If Mary Jane doesn't have red hair,
Right.
the
So
internet will implode.
They're gonna have red hair, and guess what? People are gonna forget about it. She's gonna look fantastic.
Yeah.
And people are going to forget about it. But that's the problem with social media. It's the problem with the internet. Everybody has their voice heard. Everybody can say what they want to say. And there's a lot of fanboys out there that if it's not, specific to what the original source material is, they're going to bitch regardless. And you know what? There's no reason for it.
And that's the thing, is everybody's clinging to this, like, comic books that were made 80 years ago when everybody was white, and that's just the way they wanted it. And they need to change it as time goes. And this is where Disney and Marvel has been great with it. Flash Thompson, they didn't cast a white guy; they casted like a chubby guy to play the bully.
Yeah.
And that news, people freaked out. It went on. Like, as long as Zendaya is written well, because Mary Jane is a personality.
Right.
Like, go get him, Tiger. Very sassy, very raspy, very sexual, like that kind of thing. So as long as they write her, she acts it well, and it's well put together, I'm not going to care about what she looks like.
Not at all.
Like I said, there's maybe 4 characters I'd be upset with if they changed it that drastically. But even like if they cast a white Luke Cage, I'd be like, what are you thinking? Like the whole basis of Luke Cage is that he's a black guy. Like I'd be way more mad if they cast a white Luke Cage than anything.
Well, then you look at Idris Elba when they cast him as Heimdall. Heimdall was supposed to be the pale one. I remember the internet blew up over that too, and then it went away. And Idris Elba was awesome.
You know what? I think
well,
Disney,
for Idris Elba,
I think Disney.
You shut your dirty mouth.
I think Disney and Marvel have a solid handle on this, and they know
It's a great show.
They know what they want to do and who they want to cast. And like Kurt said, I don't want to say the untouchables, because I think anybody should be able to go out and cast for apply for a role. But there are definitely, I think, those heroes out there where Disney or Warner Brothers, they're going to look at it and be like, no, like you need to have the guy look the part. But for a lot of these secondary characters, it's not going to matter. And that's why I have a feeling like Disney, they don't care. Like they want to seem progressive. And like you'd said, it's something that was created 50, 60 years ago when it was white dominant, who cares? Disney has a handle on it. It's not going to be a problem.
And that's where Disney because they know it's a very diverse crowd of men, women, different races going to see these movies.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to a movie and just look out and see a bunch of white people saving the world.
No, for sure.
And when you're in Queens, New York, it's not just a bunch of white people.
Yeah.
No, it's very true. I've never been there, but I agree.
I've seen Seinfeld.
No, the whole stupid thing about this argument is if they cast all white people, everybody would be making the same stink.
Yeah.
That's what is so stupid about this argument.
Hollywood right now, for sure, there's
Hollywood's
always
a lose-lose situation.
It is,
especially in the geek culture. It's like lose-lose.
We are the
no
meanest
wonder,
moviegoers that are out there.
Because you know what? There's the whole whitewashing in Hollywood. Like, it's the past 2 years for the Oscars.
I'll never get over Emma Stone and Aloha as an Asian woman. Like, Emma Stone as an Asian woman.
Well, like I said, like the
Polynesian.
Oscars, the Oscars the past 2 years, how mad were people that there was no black nominations?
Yeah.
Right? And that's the state that Hollywood's in right now. So they're trying to fix this whole whitewashing. They're trying to get away from that. But then, like you said, you have these few companies, these few studios that are
trying to do some good.
Good casting. Marvel, Disney for sure. Because look at Black Panther. That's
if it was a white guy, I'd be mad
for sure.
White Panther sounds like a group I don't want to be a part of.
There's just no winning right now, and it's unfortunate that and it is the day and age that we live in where everybody can just bitch because they can bitch.
Nerds, let's jump on things like awful storylines.
Totally.
And not whether somebody is brown
and you know what?
or white
You're still
or
gonna
gay
get
or straight.
a sexy girl with red hair playing Mary Jane. You're still going to get Spider-Man swinging around. You might see Miles Morales. You're going to see Flash Thompson, but he's not a white jock anymore. Like, it's just the world you live in.
You're going to go see Spider-Man, and there isn't going to be people that are coming out going, God, she was horrible. I hated this movie. Everybody's going to love it.
She was brown.
Yeah, because nobody can believe an African-American Mary Jane, but you can believe that a 32-year-old Tobey Maguire is in grade 12.
Emo Tobey.
Oh my God, the emo symbiote. For some reason, you're an amazing jazz pianist.
Dig on this. Hey, cool cats.
Oh my God, Sam Raimi, you son of a. But I guess, that pretty much wraps it up. What did you think of? I really hope we did a good job of not sounding like bigots in the last part.
Listen to the whole thing. Just don't stop when we say Superman shouldn't be black.
There'll be screen caps all over the internet. It'll be like, the Gentleman's Show is the most racist thing on the internet. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you're happy with the casting, what you think of like the PlayStation Network, Gamescom, everything like that. And also follow these sexy gentlemen on the Twitter machine.
At Real Reviews 00.
As well as on the YouTube machine, which you were probably watching this on right now. And also find me, Darren On Air and VO on YouTube, as well as at On Air Darren on Twitter. Until next week.
See ya. Muy bueno. Good God.
Gonna take.